Hi, so I made this short that I put out there, and it's basically the Earth with the moon, and then there's a comet going around it. And the orbital motion is based on the geometry node setup that I have in another video. If you want to go to my site, you can take a look at that. I do actually a step-by-step of how to build it up. And so these two objects are just spheres. And what I'm doing is I have this ping pong setup that's in the orbital mechanics step-by-step that you can watch if you go to my site. And I have two of them. And one I had kind of a circular orbit, and the other one I had an elliptical one. And if I rotated it, it gave it sort of a little angle relative to the plane of the orbit of the first object, which is the moon here. Now, the Earth is a model that I put together following Blender Guru tutorial. He does a really good job on it, so I'll put a link to that in the description. And then here I have an icosphere, and I made it as simple as possible. And that's just an emitter. So that's how I'm making the comet. The emitter, and you can see here, the emission strength is purple, so that means there's a driver there. And I have a little video on drivers too, so I'm kind of putting things together, the geometry nodes and the driver. So the moon is really simple. It's just, if I go to the shader here, well, first I'll look at the background. The background's really simple. I just changed the color so that's a noise going into a color ramp that goes into the background. And what that does, it gives you kind of a starry sky kind of look. And that's all it is. I just cranked up the scale, brought up the color ramp, and then it looks like stars in the background. Now, if I go to the object, this is all the moon is. It's just the factor from a noise going into the color. You're not going to see it up close, so it really doesn't matter. But it does give that kind of grayish, kind of moonish feel. And the other object is just a sphere. There's nothing really to that shader. The main thing that is just an emitter for the particles that I have here. And I have them set for a lifetime of 20. And I had the animation going for 400 seconds. So that's how long I had them being emitted. And gravity, I moved that down to 0 so they wouldn't just fall downward as it went around. I wanted it to kind of follow the trail of the orbit. And this is a setup, and this is straight from the Blender Guru tutorial, and you can go to that. I'll put that in the description. And it's just some textures going in for the Earth's surface, and then he has some other ones for like clouds up above. And I think I disabled that in the video just so it would process a little quicker. The ping pong setup, I have two of them, and what I did here is instead of having an icosphere going into it, I used the original geometry. And I did that the same thing for both of these pings, ping and then ping 001. And these are based off of cubes. And all I did is I went into edit mode and then did a merge, just the M command, and reduced them down to a single vertex. So that's really the trick. The moon and the comet, I have both of them feeding in the original geometry that's reduced to a single vertex. And then here you can see if I go to the spreadsheet, there's just a single position. And so what I'm using is if I click on this and I go to the constraints, you can see that I'm doing a copy location. So it's copying that single vertex location and moving the moon to that position. And then I'm doing the same thing for the comet and the other ping pong system, the ping pong 001. Or sorry, the 001 is to the moon, and the original ping pong is the more elliptical orbit for the comet. So here, if I turn off these spheres and then just show you the ping pong system, it's just a single vertex for each one, as you can see here. So I'll turn those back off and then the spheres back on. So I changed the light in the system to a sun. And then what I did for the driver, I wanted the intensity of the particles being emitted to increase as it moved closer to the Earth, because that's how it usually works. So I put a driver in there, and here I'm going to go and edit the driver. And all this is the variable is the x location of that object. And so it's 10 divided by the absolute value of that variable minus 10. And so what I wanted to do is make the equation so that I took this original ellipse and sort of shifted that x position over so that it gets close to 0 when it gets closer to the Earth, and then use that position in the denominator so it gets smaller, so that quantity gets larger. So the emission is going to increase as it gets closer to the Earth, or closer to the point that's furthest left on the screen of that orbit. So that's basically it. If I start it up, you can see what it does. Yeah, you see some emission, but when it gets close, it really increases intensity. And here you can see it again, and it gets a lot brighter as it goes around the Earth. And then I restarted it so you can see it, and it gets brighter. So that's basically it. Combining things that we've learned in some other videos that I put out there. So I hope you like it. If you do, please like or subscribe, and have a good one. Bye.